Welcome to Tech Surge News, where we bring you the latest in the world of science and technology. In this video, join us as we explore futuristic and groundbreaking tech that'll definitely knock your socks off.
Our homes play a significant role in meeting the 2030 carbon reduction goals set out by many countries. Alternatives such as earthships, passive houses, and modular homes can considerably reduce the carbon footprint of our living spaces. But these options are currently not reasonably priced for the majority of people. What if we could build new houses that use a lot less energy to sustain, create, heat, and cool? Let's take a look at tiny sustainable houses and how they compare to conventional homes and greener alternatives. Most industries must make significant changes in order to contribute to decarbonization efforts. Renewable energy and electric vehicles are only a few components of the puzzle. That is decarbonization. The way we build our homes and the power we use in them can have a significant impact on the climate change. However, for most people, cost is an issue that must be addressed. In the United States, the residential sector accounts for approximately 20% of total carbon emissions and 21% of total electricity consumption. Space heating and cooling are expected to account for 42% of home energy consumption in the United States. Households in the United Kingdom account for a significant portion of carbon emissions, accounting for 40%. And while emissions decreased from 12.8 tons in 1990 to 8.1 tons in 2014, there is still a lot to be done to meet carbon goals over the next few decades. Sustainable solutions such as passive houses, modular homes, and earthships have grown in popularity in order to lower the carbon footprint of homes. They consider factors such as orientation, insulation, the use of eco-friendly alternatives or upcycled materials, and in the case of modular homes, off-site construction. However, the larger the house, the more costly and carbon-emitting it is. Because of this, people have begun to wonder whether we really need large homes that require more construction materials and consume more electricity. And we Americans love our big houses. Since the 1950s, the average size of a new single-family home in the United States had risen from 900 square feet to over 2,000 square feet. Considering this perspective, the tiny house movement has gained traction in the home building industry as a more maintainable and cost-effective approach. Tiny houses are typically no larger than 400 square feet, with some being as small as 80 square feet total. They require less maintenance and energy, and they are less expensive than traditional homes. But it's not just about affordability. There's a whole revolution and mindset behind the building of these houses. Small living dates back to the earliest humans, who lived in caves and built structures such as igloos, hunts and tents, and huts. But in the past, it was more out of necessity than anything else. It should come as no surprise that tiny homes can now be powered by renewables such as wind and solar in addition to traditional grid-connected electricity. Adding panels will raise the initial cost of tiny homes, and depending on where the owner plans to move next, the number of panels may not be sufficient to fully power the tiny home in an off-grid situation. You can avoid this by including batteries or a backup generator, which will raise building costs. As a result, tiny houses are frequently connected to the local grid rather than being completely off-grid. Tiny houses are popular for a variety of reasons, including financial, lifestyle, maintenance, flexibility, portability, downsizing, and environmental considerations. It's a very adaptable option that can accommodate a wide range of motivations. There are two major costs to consider when selecting a tiny house: environmental and economic. These homes are much more inexpensive than traditional homes, earthships, passive homes, or modular homes in terms of economics, enabling people to own their home without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. In terms of the environment, these homes have a significantly lower carbon footprint because they are built with fewer raw materials, use less energy and water, and generate less waste. The average tiny house uses only 7% of the electricity required to power a typical size house. Most tiny homes have a power capacity of 30 amps, as opposed to the 100 to 120 amps required by conventional homes. In fact, a tiny house emits approximately 2,000 pounds of CO2 per year, whereas an average-sized home emits 28,000 pounds. While average-sized homes require 20 to 40 light bulbs, a tiny house requires only 6 light bulbs on average, and some owners choose to forego appliances that most of us consider essential, such as TVs, a washer and dryer, and microwaves. It helps with energy conservation. You can make them even more sustainable by using recyclable materials or reclaimed materials such as corrugated tin, reclaimed barnwood siding and windows, repurposed pine flooring, or even shipping pallets. For those of you who dislike cleaning, living in a tiny house can be ideal because there will be much less space to clean and considerably fewer items to organize. These houses can also foster a sense of social and community connections by sharing resources that you or others do not have, such as a washing machine, Wi-Fi, or simply spending time outside with others.
Let's take a short break real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, then why don't you give us a comment down below, because we at Tech Surge News would love to hear what you think. Also, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to Tech Surge News while you're down there. On to the video.
Tiny houses cost a fraction of the price of traditional houses. Obviously, the price will vary depending on the size, interior design, mobility, and materials used to construct it. A basic cabin kit can cost between $6,000 to $8,000, whereas a well-designed tiny house can cost $100,000 or more. However, the average price of a tiny house is around $45,000. Most tiny house owners save the most money because they don't have a monthly mortgage payment. In fact, 68% of tiny house owners do not have to make home payments at all, compared to 29.3% of all American homeowners. Furthermore, 55% of tiny house converts have much more savings than the average American, and 65% have no credit card debts. Most people who live in tiny houses spend between $10 to $35 per month on utilities, while a typical size house has monthly utility bills of at least $240. Based on what we've seen so far, tiny houses are less expensive than any other types of sustainable homes. While they cost an average of $150 per square foot, earthshifts cost between $150 and $225 per square foot, and passive homes cost between $166 and $231 per square foot. However, other costs must be considered when building a tiny house, such as building permits, which average around $1,350 in the United States, a foundation which costs $4 to $7 per square foot, and a piece of land if you're looking for a permanent home. The land value will vary greatly depending on the location. With the growth of the tiny home movement, several companies have begun to build tiny homes all over the world, with options ranging from cheap and simple cabins to luxury properties. Minimalist, a Canadian company, builds tiny houses on wheels that include propane systems, solar-powered electric systems, gray water tanks, or integrated drinking water, allowing for off-grid living in any climate. Prices range from 85,000 Canadian dollars, approximately $67 US, to 160,000 Canadian dollars, well, approximately $125,000, with models accommodating to 2 to 8 people. 8 individuals living in a small house. Sounds like something out of a reality show. The opposite end of the spectrum, there are also very low-cost options, such as a Bala Bunkie cabin, manufactured by US-based company Summerwood. This cabin design has 230 square feet of available space, but it has a footprint of only 100 square feet and an increased roof pitch to create plenty of loft space. The kit costs $10,636. Permits are not required in most jurisdictions. However, the bunkie's price does not include any insulation, plumbing, or electrical upgrades. You're essentially just purchasing the box. But if you can live without it, this could be a steal. Tiny Eco Homes UK manufactures towable eco-mobile homes in 3 styles: traditional, elegance, and elegance grand. Prices range from £42,000 to £62,000, and size ranges from 144 to 224 square feet. Their tiny houses are more than luxurious end of the spectrum, catering to those looking to downside without sacrificing comfort. Their traditional range tiny house has double glazed windows and doors, thermally treated exterior siding, LED lighting and electric, several appliances, and a luxury steam spa shower cubicle in the bathroom. The tiny house movement is rapidly growing not only around the world, but also online. A tiny house can be purchased on Amazon. I'm curious if they deliver it in the next day. However, they may not be a purchase you want to make blindly. If you're thinking of living in a tiny house but aren't sure if it's for you, you could always rent one to see how it goes. More than 7,000 tiny homes are available for rent on Airbnb in the United States. For example, in Wellsville, Pennsylvania, you can rent this 1-bedroom tiny retreat near Ski Round Top for $161 per night. This allows you to test out several options before deciding to go all in on small living. Even though the tiny house movement is growing in popularity, there are some issues to consider. There are many different laws in the United States regarding zoning regulations for tiny homes, which vary by state, city, and town. To ensure safety, most areas require these homes to have a minimum ceiling height of 6 feet 4 inches in bathrooms and 6 feet and 8 inches in common areas. There must also be at least one separate bathroom, an emergency exit, and a staircase or ladder leading to any lofted spaces. But these requirements vary depending on where you build or park your tiny home. California, Florida, Colorado, Texas, Oregon, Washington Arizona, North Carolina, New York, and Utah are the top 10 states for tiny home living in the United States. Tiny homes are emerged as an intriguing asset in the construction industry, with the potential to reduce carbon emissions or simply save you a lot of money in terms of how you live. Through 2025, the tiny home market is expected to grow by $3.3 billion, a CAGR of more than 4%. When it comes to determining your options and what is best for you, logic must be applied.
Thank you for staying around till the end of the video. To keep on hearing from us, feel free to subscribe down below and hit the bell button to get the latest notifications. Tech Surge News signing out.